Today, the Leica SL3 was released, and I already got mine. But let me start at the beginning. I got up very early today in Berlin. Because the German rail system is on strike, I had to cancel my train ticket and had to organize a rental car. After all, I had to drive about 500 kilometers to Wetzlar. You have to make some sacrifices to get your SL3 on the release date. I never went to Wetzlar before, and it was always a big dream of mine to go there and visit the place where the Leica cameras are manufactured and where all the history of the brand lies. I have been on the waiting list for more than a year at Photo Görlitz, where I ordered all of my Leica stuff for quite some time now. So I decided to combine the two things I have never done before. Go to Wetzlar and meet Alexander, the owner of Photo Görlitz, whom I've never met in person before. I drove the 500 kilometers from Berlin to Wetzlar on the German freeway, which is fun because you can drive very fast. At some point, I had a few stops, and then finally I arrived at Wetzlar. I arrived around noon at a point where the SL3 had not been released yet. So I decided to go into downtown Wetzlar first to check out the city, and I tried to find the corner where the first photo was taken with a Leica camera. After lunch, I went to Leitzpark to get my hotel room. I had a reservation at the Leitz Hotel just across the street of where Leica is. At 3 o'clock local time, the SL3 was finally released. I met Alex at the hotel lobby and he gave me my SL3. He meant that I'm probably the first regular customer in the world to get the camera. I've been a happy customer of Alex for the past years, and this is not a sponsored video. This is just an unbelievable nice guy who helped me in several situations to find the right solution for my Leica needs. It was great meeting you in person, Alex. Before I unbox my camera, let's check out the technical specs. The body. It's a bit smaller than the SL2. It has a newly designed hand grip. The weight without battery is 769 grams, about 70 grams less than the SL2. It has a tiltable 3.2-inch backlight touchscreen with 2.3 million dots. It tilts the same like the Q3, but it is not the same screen because the Q3 only uses 1.85 million dots. A 5.76 million dots, 120 frames per second OLED viewfinder. The SL3 now has a new function wheel on top, which you operate with your left hand. And it has a new illuminated on-off button, not a switch anymore. The sensor. The SL3 has a 60 megapixel CMOS BSI sensor. It's the same sensor as the M11 and the Q3, also with the triple resolution technology for 60, 36 and 18 megapixels. It has 15 stops of dynamic range. It has 5 stops of in-body image stabilization. The ISO range is from 50 to 100,000 and it has a Maestro 4 processor with L2 technology. The connections. On the body we find a USB-C 3.1 connection with charging function, an HDMI 2.1 Type A, an audio in and out 3.5mm jack, a new timecode interface, and the camera comes with 2 different card slots with a CF Express Type B and an SD UHS 2 memory slot. The CF Express Type B is new, we didn't have that in the SL2. The inbox accessories. The camera comes with a new battery, the BP-SCL6, the same battery the Q3 uses. The new features that stand out most are, of course, the autofocus. It has a new hybrid autofocus that is a combination of contrast metering, depth mapping and phase comparison metering with AI metering points in the sensor. It has a new graphical user interface. The Leica SL3 can also use the Leica looks that were introduced last year for the Q3. You can access them through the Leica Photos app, which also got an update today. Let's also touch the video features. It has internal recording of Full HD up to 120 frames per second, 4K and Cinema 4K up to 60 frames per second, 8K and Cinema 8K up to 30 frames per second, and it supports 1080p in ProRes up to 60 frames per second. And of course, it has a clean HDMI feed to record to external devices. Let's open it up. This is probably the ultimate unpacking video because it is actually on the stairs in front of Leica at Lights Park. I don't know if that has ever been done before, so let's do that. As it is tradition with Leica, we have a Prüfzertifikat, which is signed by N. Heinz. So thank you, N. Heinz, for checking my SL3. Then we have the usual vouchers and a setup guide in all languages. Let's take this out, and now we see a classical SL box with the camera, the strap. I will never need the battery, and we don't have a charger. No charger, but a cable. A charging cable, it's a USB-C cable. So I have to charge it through the camera probably. Aha, no more charger. And then of course, the main attraction, the camera. It has the tiltable screen, the new wheel on this side, old wheel feels actually a little bit lighter. So let me put a battery in. And now we turn it on for the first time with this new button here. You can also set it up with the Leica Photos app. I did a special video with the Q3 and the Leica Photos app and show in that video how you set the Q3 or any camera up with the Photos app. Check out this video, I'm going to link it in the description. I'm not going to show it here anymore. There is a completely new menu and I don't see it here. You have to go in the hotel room to show you the menu. So now in my hotel room it's much more comfortable and a little bit more controlled, and we have this fascinating wallpaper here. It is beautiful. It's a Leica wallpaper. On my way up here I talked to Alex again, who is already on his way home, but he told me that there is actually no charger in the box this time. So basically what Leica is doing is the same Apple is doing with their iPhones. You're getting a cable and you can charge the battery in the camera. But you also need a plug, so you can use your MacBook plug or whatever USB-C charger you have. What they later will introduce, I don't know when, in a few weeks, is a double charger with the cable and then also a plug. Yeah, I think that makes absolute sense to have, because when I bought a Leica there was always a charger in it. When I sold the Leica I always sold the charger with it. So of course you can charge in camera, but this is not as comfortable, and if you need a lot of batteries, if you shoot a lot of especially video, you need to have chargers. So this is going to be an extra accessory, but from an environmental point of view I totally understand a lot of people will have charger at home. So let's go back to the camera body. I have here also my SL2, so we can compare them a little bit. The SL3 is actually a little bit deeper. The SL2 is a little bit slimmer, but overall the SL3 is a little bit smaller. And what you can see beautiful here is that we now have this wheel, which we didn't have before, and I am excited to see what this wheel can do. I hope you can put a lot of customization on that wheel. So we press the new power button, camera starts. I'm gonna set all this later, and now we need to add a memory card. We have two different memory cards now. We had two SD card slots, now we have a CF Express card slot and an SD slot. So I organized a CF Express card because there were rumors that it's gonna be like this. So let's put that in. And now we see the menu actually is different. It's a little bit more, it has round corners, it's a little bit more, I say modern, is probably the word they used when working on that. And then when you press menu again, you have a new menu structure, and I will have to go through that menu structure in the next couple of days, and I promise I will do a separate video on the new menu structure, and I will show you how my SL3 will be set up. My first impression of the menu is cool. What I'm very interested in now is what is the wheel doing. At the moment, if you're using autofocus lenses, you only can do program shifting, exposure compensation, or ISO. Oh, that's interesting. The ISO on the left hand, that's maybe cool. Or also exposure compensation, I don't need that much, and program shift, I don't need that much as well. Actually, ISO on the left hand is interesting. Yeah. Maybe in future firmware updates you can add more possibilities so I can do whatever I want. I'm telling you now, I have to go deeper into the menu, and I'm gonna stop talking about that now because it is a new camera and it's really new. I'm a little bit excited because I like new stuff. Of course, I like when stuff stays the way I know it, but I even like it more when I can figure out new stuff. So that's why my channel is called Stay Curious. So now let's talk about the ergonomics. I am a big fan of the SL2 camera because, and I don't have big hands, but I can hold it very comfortably. And my pinky here on, for example, Sony cameras, I always have the problem that my pinky has no use. And with the SL2 was the first camera which I really felt comfortable with. It reminded me a little bit on the old mirror camera. When you have mirrors in the cameras, they were a little bit bulkier. The SL2 was a little bit bulkier than all the other cameras around. I also own the Panasonic S52X, which is smaller as well, and I have added a cage to that because I just can hold it better. And this was my fear a little bit when they told us that the Leica SL3 Body is smaller, that this is going to be an issue for me, but I have a feeling that it's not an issue. It is a little bit, just a tiny little bit smaller here, but it's still, you have a very good grip, and this is something I really like. Oh, I just found out. This is cool. This just happened. The viewfinder also tilts. Nikon did that first, I think. Is it in here as well? It's in here as well. Very cool. There's a lot of stuff to figure out. So I'm gonna end this video here because it's getting dark, I'm losing light. It's not the most optimal studio here to show you stuff. But the intention of this video was to come to Wetzlar, to meet Alex and to get my SL3, and of course to show you my SL3 and have the first impressions out of the way. I have the intention of doing a lot of SL3 content in the coming weeks. I'm going to explore the menus, all the new functions with the Leica Photos app, the video functions. There's a lot to explore. If there's a topic you're interested in, please leave it in the comments and I will try to include this into the future SL3 videos. Now, don't forget to subscribe to help my channel grow, and to see the next videos, please also like to support the channel. And until you have new SL3 content, maybe you watch this content about the Q3. Stay curious!